Okay, I think we're ready to wrap this up. I noticed a kind of a weird thing about the map here. You can switch between local and regional maps, but the town is tilted on the regional map. This is actually pretty much due west, and this is due east. And this was confusing me a long time when I was trying to find the right exit. We're looking for the one that is on the west side of town. But on the region map, it looks sort of northwest. I don't know why they tilted the map. There's no compass on the map, so you can't even tell which direction it's going. I've been thinking about Ramona and her whole situation. Like, how long do you suppose she's been here? Like, surely no more than a week. Since she got unfrozen and shot into space. And she has managed to charm her way not only into paying work,
wow,
but she's also got herself a little friend. And she's, you know, really making a difference in the town. She's helped a lot of people. When I created her, you know, I was envisioning this sort of natural leader type person. And even given her extraordinarily trying circumstances, she really seems to have made the best of things. I found one more place that I could loot on the way to the geothermal plant. And, wait, we can't take a shortcut there? Oh, I'm near hostels. What hostels? Who is hostile to me right now? Are there new marauders infesting these rooms? There are indeed. I see them. I've got them in my sights.
there we go. Nice one.
Can you tell I've got a little practice shooting?
Doing all right?
I'm going to loot them and then we should be able to hop right to the geothermal plant using fast travel. Assuming that's the end of our hostels. Yep, we're good to go. So this is it, Ramona's final decision. I like to think she's slept on it, you know, kind of wandered around the town of Edgewater and seen that really most of those people are just doing their best. Reed Thompson is a snake and a slime ball. But that's not the people of Edgewater's fault, and there are only a few little stragglers hanging out at the botanical lab, and if they were to go back and join the workforce, maybe it would be less miserable for everybody else there. She's starting to kind of agree with what the vicar said about how everybody has the best shot if they stick together. And for them to all try to go live at the botanical lab would be ridiculous. You know, there's just better infrastructure. Not ideal infrastructure, everything's falling apart, but at least somewhat better in the town. So this is Ramona's final executive decision on the matter. Hey, look who it is. It's our friend Jeremy.
Mechanicide protocols currently active. Please do not interrupt.
Okay, Jeremy, but I think you got them all. I'm gonna have to go down one. We pretty well cleaned this place out when we were here last. But in order to do things in an ideal fashion, you really do have to make 2 trips here. Okay, there's one more routing switch we have to hit before we can redirect the power, and it is up here.
Mind the steam. You're liable to get scalded.
Okay, let's be careful through here. I hear clattering. Unfriendly clattering. Jeremy, where are you when we need you? They're wounded, though. They've been shooting at each other.
Hit it with something else. Down they go. That all right?
Oh, that's nice. Let's take a moment. Leadership is what we're investing in primarily here, but I was going to throw in some dialogue and some ranged this time around. Because while I have gotten better at shooting, Ramona is still pretty terrible at it.
If we send the power to Miss McDevitt, what happens to the veil?
Nothing good.
System performing in scan.
Oh, these drones are tricky. I'll have Parvati cheat and appear mysteriously right next to it.
No hard feelings, okay?
I know it breaks your heart to harm your little mechanical friends. Okay, routing switch over here. But yeah, we softened this place up very nicely.
Celeste, I'm not sure what the right is. All I know is the decision's final.
Well, lucky for you, Parvati, you have fallen in with a woman who is excellent at making decisions. You will never have to decide anything again in your entire life. Just follow Ramona's lead and everything will go swimmingly for you. I almost made that sound like sarcasm, but no, indeed. Ramona is awesome. She's got protagonist vibe.
Once we do this, there's no going back.
Don't be nervous, Parvati. Trust in Ramona.
Excuse me, ma'am. Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do?
Ramona does, but she also understands that Parvati is nervous and troubled, so she says she wouldn't mind hearing her opinion.
I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished.
I see your point. I think I'm ready to make a decision.
Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something.
I'm glad you did. I like hearing from you.
Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
So Parvati was thinking along exactly the same lines as Ramona. Ramona's thinking, this gal and I were simpatico. But like any good leader, she allows Parvati to think that this was her influence, her decision, even though she'd already made up her mind, you know? People always feel good if they think it was their idea. Alright, we're going to redirect power. Redirect power to Edgewater. The point of no return. Power successfully redirected to Edgewater. Botanical laboratory power regulator is now safe to remove. So we're going to do that, and I'm sure that's going to go just swimmingly. I'm sure no one will be upset about that at all. But Ramona is not worried about people's displeasure. She knows that she made the right decision. She is confident in her decision making. I'm near hostels again. Hostels everywhere. This time let's try just getting farther away from the hostels. See how that works. Be a better you with Adrena time. Yeah, I've seen some of the better yous that result from use of that particular substance. Oh, look at them all huddled around the campfire.
What
Thomas.
happened? Sprat fell into a transformer again?
Poor Ernest Thomas.
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead.
Oh, let's see. How do we get down there? Oh, the door's right here. I have eyes. I swear.
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a spit. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will starve. I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it?
Reed needs his people back.
You want my flock wasting their lives in that cannery? Fine. Go and talk to them. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility.
And I'm fine with
Tell
that.
Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management.
For that, I cannot blame you. What happened to you, Adelaide? All this anger had to come from somewhere.
My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear.
Wow. I'm willing to deal with Reed for you.
You offering to cross Reed off, huh?
No, that's not what I
Is this
said.
some sort of twisted reparation for what you've done? Or are you just looking for a chance to sow some chaos? Kill Reed if you must, or talk him into leaving if you
Okay,
can.
yeah, that's what I meant.
He and I are not sharing the same four walls together.
Reed isn't going to just leave his post. I'll need some help convincing him.
Tell him what I have already told you. That I know the secret to bringing life back to the soil. The secret is human corpses. I've been grinding them up in my fertilizer for years. Marauder, worker, don't matter much to me. The human body is rich with nutrients.
Yeah, I figured that one out on my own. But do you think that'll convince Reed to step down?
I have got a means to cure the plague, and I will not share that cure until Reed leaves town. Those are my terms.
Enough talk. So yeah, the plague is not actually a plague. It's just malnutrition. They've been eating nothing but salt tuna in that town for years, and yeah, they're all just dying from various nutrient deficiencies.
Sorry. I'm just trying to figure out what to do is all.
You won't survive without power. It's time to go back to Edgewater.
I've been thinking about going back. I'm not much use to anybody here. I get sick thinking about working at the cannery. I can't do that again.
So don't work at the cannery. You wanted to be an engineer.
You know something? I think you're right. The town could use another engineer, and I'm on my way to becoming one. I could do a lot of good in Edgewater. Maybe even keep a garage of my own with a little workbench and my very own toolbox. It's just... Adelaide's never gonna forgive me. Not in 100 years. I go crawling back to my old life in Edgewater, and I'm as good as dead to her.
Stay put. I'm going to try to talk Reed into stepping down.
You know where to find me.
Going to check in with Grace.
I don't know what you did to talk some sense into Zoe, but I appreciate it.
There's nothing left for you here. It's time to go back to Edgewater.
The matter's been weighing on me. Zoe came back, but I couldn't keep her from slipping out in the first place. Who's to say I could keep marauders from slipping in?
Not me, that's for
I
sure.
don't see us lasting more than a couple of weeks out here. I'm loath to admit it. We're gonna have to make our peace with Thompson and hope he takes us back. Listen, we go back to Reed, hat in hand, begging for our old jobs back. Well, Adelaide's not gonna forgive us. She never talked to us again.
Don't do anything hasty. I'm going to try to talk Reed into stepping down.
Sure, suit yourself. I'll be here.
And back to Edgewater to have yet another difficult conversation. You know, as crummy as this little town is, you can kind of see what it might have been. Quirky and overly corporate, but cute.
He's been running at full capacity all day. Must be all that
Power's already helping the cannery. You know, I think Ramona will always have a special place in her heart for Edgewater because, you know, it was kind of the first place she got to, you know, call home for a little while after being unfrozen from a pod and crash landing on a foreign planet, you know. A couple of good nights sleep, made a couple friends, and got all involved in the town's drama. So even though she's about to have the power regulator that she needs to leave, I think she'll always remember this place fondly for all its quirks and disturbing secrets.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. So, when can I expect them back at their posts?
I spoke to Adelaide. She won't come back so long as you're here.
Then we are at an impasse. Stewardship over this town has been entrusted to me by Spacer's Choice. I am not perfect. I have made my share of mistakes, but I have done my best for this town.
The town's terrified of the plague. Abernathy asked me to steal medicine for him.
I am not without compassion for Abernathy's predicament, but the plague has taken a hard toll on us all. I am a Spacer's Choice man. My father was a Spacer's Choice man. Edgewater may not look like much to some buttoned-up freelancer, but it is my home.
Adelaide's people aren't getting sick with plague.
I don't believe you. Plague's a reality of life. Best treatment is a good work ethic.
This town doesn't eat anything but salt tuna. Of course you're going to get sick.
You are disparaging our parent company, and it is not appreciated. We are a Spacer's Choice salt tuna cannery. We eat salt tuna here, and only salt tuna.
I'm pretty sure it's your food that's making you sick. You need Adelaide's garden.
I don't understand. You say Adelaide's growing her own food, but that should not be possible. The soil's gone sour. Company said as much. Our own botanists couldn't grow decent crops for us, so the company got rid of them and shut down the greenhouse.
Adelaide's found a way to grow food. She'll come back if you step down.
You will excuse me for being skeptical. How exactly is Adelaide growing crops in barren soil?
Should we tell him the truth? I think Ramona would tell him the truth. She's been using human corpses in her fertilizer.
Adelaide has been using dead bodies in her fertilizer? That's... Come to think of it, that's a stroke of brilliance.
Should have known that wouldn't put him off.
Solution. Recycling Spacer's Choice property long after its date of expiration.
Recycling property.
Those missing bodies in Silas's cemetery?
This town needs Adelaide. She won't come back so long as you're here.
So Adelaide wants me gone. Trade my life for the life of the town. You understand what she's doing. If I leave town, I'm as good as dead. If I stay, Edgewater will die of attrition. Adelaide has discovered some secret cure for the plague, and she is holding my town ransom.
It's not that secret I just told you, but anyway, this town could use all the help it can get.
If Adelaide's found a way to feed her people and cure the plague, then she deserves this office more than I do. I won't stand in her way. My life here is ended. Give me a little time to settle my affairs. I'm sure Adelaide will be glad to see the back of me.
This can't be easy for you.
I have always tried to do right by my town. It has never been easy.
What are your plans?
A couple months ago, I might have put in for a transfer. It's a big colony. Spacer's Choice has other towns. Now, I couldn't show my face in any of them.
Why not?
No such thing as an honorable resignation. Suppose I could find a place outside the walls, or put in for early retirement.
I don't want to say that because I don't want to make him feel any worse than he already does, because he has done as I asked and stepped down. And you don't have to do this also seems like a weird thing to say, because I literally just told him he had to. Take care. There is something a little pathetic about him, you know. Yeah, he did deny medicine to a dying young man. I don't know how old Adelaide's son was when he died. He was a worker, but probably not too old. But he really is just doing his best, and again, it's mostly incompetence rather than malice. And there's a lot of that in this game, where you have to figure out which it is. You know, are these people just that dumb, or are they really trying to cause harm? And there are a lot of nuances. Most people, they just kind of go the whole, corporate evil, whatever, in their heads. But the actual writing in the game is much more nuanced than that, and I love it. There's almost nobody in it who's just a mustache twirly villain.
Look at that. The snake's come back.
I talked Reed into leaving. Come back to Edgewater.
I never thought I'd see the day that Reed Thompson abandoned his post. Suppose we all have a breaking point. Suppose it's time our flock made our way back to Edgewater. We must tend to what remains of the town and carry on with our lives as best we may. You're vexing to me, you know? Injuring us with one hand, helping us with the other. Here, I'm giving you something to leave us be. It's a ransom, you understand, not a reward.
Edgewater is better off with you running the place.
You're telling me you did all this just to put me in charge of Edgewater? Stranger, you are some kind of twisted. I might turn that old cannery into a garden. Got ourselves a whole cemetery bursting with bodies. I need some time to gather my personals. Long walk back to Edgewater. Got a considerable burden to carry.
Take care. And there it is. Our MacGuffin that has kept us here all this time. The power regulator. Hot damn, we can actually get out of here. This is so exciting for Ramona. Like, this is the first time she's had any choice about what to do with her life and not been utterly trapped, either in a pod or, here. Like, she's talking about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. She showed up here with nothing but her little hibernation suit and, got herself a weapon off some poor wounded guy in a cave, and then marched herself straight to town, got herself some work. I'm just so proud of our girl, and now she finally gets to fly a spaceship. Well, Ada's gonna fly the spaceship, but Say goodbye to Emerald Vale. Take one last look at the beautiful sky. Because we are going to fast travel back to the ship.